Hi everybody, it's Mike Reed from Wagner Subaru. Today we're going to give you a virtual walk around of the 2020 Outback. This happens to be a touring turbo model, and this is going to be very quick, but we want to give folks that are thinking about or have just purchased a new Outback just a very quick overview of the features and functionality that the car has, since we're not getting into vehicles with people to do deliveries or redeliveries at this moment, to make sure we're taking the proper precautions of social distancing during the COVID-19 situation. We figured this would be a great way to give you kind of a quick overview of the vehicle and what it can do. So come on with me and I'll show you some things. First thing I want to point out is, and this is unique to the turbo models, on the front grille, these are actually open to allow airflow to come in and get into the intercooler for the turbo. The non-turbo models don't have the openings. It's a closed grille. I also want to point out something that's unique to the Touring, and that's this camera, unique to the Touring and to the Onyx Edition. I want to point out that I have the keys. This is our keyless system, and I do not need to execute anything from the buttons on the front of the key. We obviously can lock the door, unlock the door, we can remotely open and close the hatch, and of course everyone's favorite, the panic alarm. But to get into the vehicle, I don't need to have the key in hand and I don't need to push buttons. So I'm just actually going to put this in my pocket and show you what I mean. So as we approach the car, you can see that it's locked. On the Touring, the side mirrors fold in once you close the vehicle and exit and lock it. Those automatically fold in to protect the mirrors. So I'm just going to simply come up to the door handle and put my hand in the handle, and you'll hear that it unlocks and you'll see the side view mirrors open up. So now I can access the vehicle. I want to point out also that the only door that unlocked during that sequence is the driver's door. And that comes by default from the factory set that way. You can change that, but that's for folks that may be getting out late at night from work. Some of our frontline healthcare workers, nurses and doctors are getting out very late. So when you get into the parking lot, you open the vehicle, it's only going to unlock the driver's door so nobody can jump in on the other side. Back here we have a power tailgate. So again, the key's in my pocket. All I need to do is press the release button here and stand back, and the gate will open itself. We have another really nice feature I'll show you. If you take a look at the buttons that are up on the rear panel, we can not only close the tailgate, but we can also actually lock the entire vehicle. And all I have to do is press and hold the lock button. I can hear it cycle, and it closes, and you'll hear a beep, and now the entire vehicle is locked. This is where we have the rear cargo cover. So a lot of folks that are going to carry cargo around and want to make sure that nobody can see in and see what the cargo is, all you have to do is simply pull this and place it in the cradle, and it'll cover everything that you have in the back. We have a new feature for the 2020 Outback. If you need to access something quickly, all you have to do is slap that, pops up halfway, and you can get in and get access to whatever you have stored in here. I want to caution you that before you get in the car and go back to driving, you need to pull this back down and place it where it belongs in the down position, because it can severely limit your visibility out of the back. So another neat feature that we have in the Outback is, in some cases, you want to have your seats down and have full access to your cargo area. So we can actually remove this cover, and Subaru's come up with a pretty neat way to store this. So I'm going to show you how that works. So you simply lift up the floor. We've got this hook here for convenience. Lock these panels, and then we can stow this. You can see there's a pattern cut out in the soundproof material here. We'll roll this up nice and neat. Cover back on. Put our hook back. Lower this. Lower this. And now you have access to your cargo space without having anything blocking it. We also have the ability to do a one-touch rear seat release. So I pull this, and I'll pull this, and now you can access all of your cargo space without having anything interfere. Again, with just a key in my pocket, and you heard me unlock the doors, I can also relock the car, and all I have to do is hold my hand over the two lines that are on the door handle, and I've just locked everything. Also would like to show you when I unlock the vehicle from the passenger side, I'm unlocking all of the doors. So again, driver's side, factory default only unlocks the driver's door. Passenger side will unlock all of the doors. One of the really great features that all Outbacks have is a stowable crossbar set. So a lot of our folks are outside doing adventures. They want to throw kayaks or bikes or any kind of cargo on top. I'm going to show you how this works. This is a really neat system. So the crossbars are actually integrated into the side rail on all of the Outbacks. And we simply lift up on a tab here. We can lift this out. The bottom of the connector piece is actually covered in rubber. So if you happen to accidentally drop it on the surface of the car, you're not going to scratch or damage anything. We literally swing this arm over and we'll place it right here. And I'm going to walk around to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing to this side and pass it back over. Drop this one down and lock it, and then we'll put this one over. Lift up on this tab, drop this into place, and now they're locked and you actually have crossbar set. All right, we're going to take a few minutes and talk about some of the controls and features on the interior of the vehicle. The first thing to note is seat controls are on the side of the seat, and you can manipulate the seat to wherever you want it. Height, raising the front of the seat, lowering it, raising the entire platform, and then of course the seat back, forward and back. And then we do have lumbar support, so there's an actual air bladder in the seat back to expand and contract to offer more or less support for your lumbar. Another nice feature is you can adjust the front of the seat for more support. So depending on the length of your torso versus your legs, you can find a really nice, comfortable seating position. Once you've got your seat where you want it, it's easy to program that into memory. We have a button here for set and seat 1 and seat 2. Same seat, but it's position 1, position 2. So if you have drivers of varying heights that are going to share the same car, each person can program the seat to where they would prefer it be. Okay, the other controls that I want to show you are for the mirrors. So we have a joystick to adjust the side view mirrors, L for left mirror, R for right, and then you simply maneuver the mirror to where you want it positioned. Underneath that, we have the lock and unlock switch for the doors, so you can manually lock and unlock the doors. And then of course we have the window controls. All 4 windows in the Touring are automatic, auto up and down. And then finally we have the window lockout switch. So if you've got little ones riding in the back and you don't want them to control the windows, having them up and down while you're driving, you simply press that and lock out their control. So next things I want to show you are the controls that are down here, just down to the left of the steering wheel. And there are 3. The first one is to activate the rear hatch. There are 3 ways to activate the rear hatch. You can do it with the key fob by pressing the rear hatch and holding that button. It'll open. You can do the same thing to close it. You can also activate the rear hatch at the back by pressing the hatch release, or you can also use the hands-free by having your hand near the Subaru star cluster. And then of course the final way is here with the button. Simply press and hold this. That activates the rear hatch. Open, repeat, and it will close. The important thing to know about using this button to activate the rear hatch is you must have all the doors unlocked. Otherwise you'll be very frustrated by pushing this button and not having anything happen. The next control is to dim the brightness of the instrument panel at night. This only is effective when it's at night and the headlights are on. And when the 2 dots are lined up, you're at maximum brightness. If that's too bright, you can scroll down and dim the instrument panel. The next button is a source of confusion for a lot of folks. This is what controls the functionality of the hands-free rear hatch control. So it is currently active. If I press this in, I deactivate that feature. So we've had a lot of folks call us after they've gotten their car home. They're very disappointed they can't get that feature to work. We always say the first step is take a look at the position of this switch. If it is pressed in, you have deactivated the feature. When it's pressed and it's out, the feature is now active. So very important to note. Let's take a look at the vent. So you can control the direction of airflow with the vent here. You can also turn the airflow off. Currently, this symbol indicates that we have airflow, and then when we rotate down to this symbol, we have no airflow coming out at all. Next to that, we have the trip reset. So this will allow you to toggle through your odometer A and odometer B. If you want to calculate fuel economy or miles traveled on a specific trip, you simply press that. This is where you have your turn signals and your headlights set, switches set. So we have an auto, we have parking lights, and then we have headlights. Now I'm sitting in the car with it off, and you could hear that tone. As soon as I activate something that would turn on parking lights or headlights, it's going to emit a very loud tone to remind me the car's not running, so don't leave that in that position and run the battery down. Next to that, we have a collar that we can turn the fog lights on and off. It's important to note, fog lights only operate when the low beam headlights are on. So if you don't have headlights on, or if your high beams are on, your fog lights will not work. So remember that. Also on these cars equipped with auto headlight feature, we have the high beam assist feature as well, and we activate that by having the headlights set to auto, pushing the stalk forward to engage the high beams. Now the eyesight cameras will be tracking for incoming headlights at night, and if they encounter incoming headlights, they'll automatically go to the low beams. Once the headlights pass, they'll go back to high beams, and that's to give the eyesight cameras increased range at night while you're driving. It's very easy to set. Just set to auto, press the stalk forward, and it's active. I also encourage folks to turn their fog lights on at the same setting process, so that way when your headlights are going to dim back down to low beams, your fog lights will automatically come on, and then they'll automatically turn off when you go back to high beams. And of course, turn signals functionalities here as well. Underneath the steering column, we have the lever that you can flip down so that you can tilt and telescope the wheel. So encourage you to get it in a position that's most comfortable for you. I like it fully extended and up in the raised position because of my height. That gives me the ability to have a clear view of the instrument panel. And I simply flip the lever back up to lock it into place. It does take a little bit of effort to get that, but once you've got it set, you don't ever need to bother with it again. As we move our way across the steering wheel from left to right, I have some controls here for audio. So the top arrows are going to allow me to scroll through my preset radio stations, whether they're FM, AM, or satellite. I can mix and match those on my presets, so sequentially go through those. These controls will also allow me to move forward on a track, or if I've got something I'm streaming, I can move tracks on what I'm streaming. I can also press and hold, and it will fast forward through the track that I'm listening to. Below that, I have volume adjustment. Below that, I have source. That will allow me on the fly to change between AM, FM, satellite, streaming, any type of audio source that I have. Next to that, I have the hands-free button. I can press that. That's what allows me to interact with the voice control system on the car. So I can set my climate control, I can change audio programming, I can even dictate directions to the navigation system on cars that are equipped with navigation. It's a very nice feature. We can also make phone calls hands-free. So if we want to make an outgoing call, obviously we just press that and we can tell the car that we want to call somebody. Below that, we have the phone off hook and phone on hook. Those are to answer incoming calls and then hang up once we've completed our call. Below that, we have controls for our information screen in the center between the tachometer and the speedometer on the instrument cluster, and it will allow us to manipulate some of the settings of the vehicle. There's an up arrow, an I or enter key and information, and then a down arrow, so we can sequentially scroll through our options there. On the right side of the steering wheel, we have our cruise control features and some of the adaptive cruise control features that we can use. So our cruise button, we simply press that to activate the cruise control feature. Once we're in the cruise control mode, we can toggle down to set our speed. With speed set, we can increase or decrease based on preference. We also have buttons that will allow us to increase or decrease the following distance that we are pacing off of the vehicle in front of us. The other button we have on this panel is our lane centering feature. You can keep a very light touch on the steering wheel, and you'll feel the wheel actually turning itself. Very, very fine degrees of correction to keep you centered in the lane. So it's a very nice feature. And then right below that control is a control for the heated steering wheel. And once we've activated that, this portion of the wheel will heat up and get nice and warm for your hands to keep you warm. This is the shift selector, so park, reverse, neutral, drive, nothing new there. Again, over to the left engages M for manual mode, and that will allow us to use the paddle shifters. We have a nice large center screen here where we have a lot of functionality built in, and we'll go through that. There at the bottom there are shortcut buttons. So my preferred button here is the home button, and that will bring us back to a home screen, if you will, and that shows everything here. On the home screen, you've got a display across the top. It's currently showing what station I have on radio. Cars equipped with navigation, we can activate the map by touching that. It brings up the navigation screen. If you want to go in and set your destinations, shortcuts, favorites, everything comes up on the nav screen. We'll go back home. Radio, that will bring up the radio screen. So any of the stations you have programmed in that are in memory, you can simply touch here, or again, you can use the steering wheel controls to sequentially go through those. And the cars that are equipped with satellite radio are giving you satellite radio free for 4 months, so you can try it, and if you like it, obviously you can sign up for a subscription. So we'll go back to home media. This would allow us to switch to an iPhone or streaming source, or if we had something that was plugged into the USB port, thumb drive, anything that would have MP3 files, that type of information we could access by using media. It's important to note that this particular Outback, the Outbacks do not come with CD player standard. So if you want to have a CD player, you certainly can. Those are offered as an accessory, and they would actually install right here in the center console, and this particular vehicle is equipped with one. So you simply load your CD in the center here. You may have noticed that when I open that, you have a two-stage center console. So you've got a nice flat surface with protection here if you want to put a phone or something small that is in that cubby hidden there, and then we can access a much deeper cargo compartment, and we have a 12-volt outlet there as well. So back to the center console. If we have a phone connected, we would simply press phone to access that. If we don't have a phone connected, this is where we would begin our pairing process. Apps, again, there are a few apps that are already preloaded. This is also where you would see your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto apps show up once the car has connectivity. It's important to note that if you're going to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you're going to want to have your charging cord plugged in to the USB port. It does require a physical connection between the phone and the vehicle in order to activate those apps. The next icon is for excuse me, for car info. This is where you've got a lot of information about driving statistics, any advanced information. This is a really nice display that shows you all of the status of your safety features, high beam assist, reverse automatic braking, and rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection. All of your eyesight features are displayed here as far as status goes. We also have info. So this is a great screen that will actually break down each one of those icons and tell you exactly what they are and what they do. Very nice feature. And then of course your maintenance screen. This is a great way to make sure that you're keeping your Subaru on its maintenance schedule and bringing it into Wagner Subaru for the maintenance when it's supposed to be done. And these can all be set individually, and our folks here, when they perform maintenance on your vehicle, will go in and set them to the next interval for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Back to the home screen, we have My Subaru app. We also have the Subaru Starlink app. That is grayed out because we don't have a phone paired and connected that has the app on it. Another great icon is settings. This is where you can go in and actually change almost every setting on the vehicle. You've got clock, display, Wi-Fi hotspot, reminder screens, welcome screens, goodbye screens. You can have birthday lists, anniversary lists. You can set up notifications, software updates. Just a whole wealth of settings can be accessed here. Sound settings can be accessed, navigation settings, press this arrow, phone settings, radio settings, car settings. And a lot of this is deep dive information that we're going to roll out to you later in video form, but we recommend that you can read the manual. But when you're digging into the manual, this is where you'll have the opportunity to go in and change some of those settings that you're going to read about. We also have shortcuts for driver assist features, and that's the little icon here. That immediately brings us up to this screen, and you have vehicle control, driving assistance, and then some other settings. This is where you can turn your vehicle dynamics control on or off. X mode can be engaged here. Auto vehicle hold, which is a very nice feature, we turn that on. And when we come to a stop at a stop light, where we're going to be there for more than a few seconds, you'll see an icon come up on the instrument panel. You can actually take your foot off the brake and the car will hold itself in place until the light turns green and you hit the gas pedal and go. It will automatically release the brakes. Speaking of climate control, let's talk about that. You have some hard buttons here on the surround of the screen that will allow you to turn front defrost on or off, your all-weather package settings, which would be your rear defogger and your side view mirror de-icer, defroster can be turned on or off with the press of a button. Red up arrow indicates heat, down blue arrow indicates cool, so you can literally change your temperature preferences with the hard buttons without having to use the touch screen. But if we want to access full climate control, on the touchscreen we press on/off, and you can see now we have a display that shows us the temperatures for both sides of the vehicle. We have our heated seat icons, we have our fan speed, and then we have where the air is sourced, and then whether air conditioning is on or off. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this really quick walk around of the 2020 Outback. We did this for folks that may have been purchasing a new vehicle and we can't get in the car with you and go over all the features and let you see what your car is capable of and what you can do. So thanks again for your support during all of this, and we look forward to seeing you soon. If you have any questions, give us a call, send us an email, we'll be happy to help. Thank you.